Welcome back. In this section, we're talking about simple interest, finding the rate or time. We have the basic formula I equals PRT. You can solve for R, solve for T, and it gives you R equals I over PT. T equals I over PR. R is the rate, T is the time. We're going to use these two formulas today to solve a couple of basic problems. And in your simple interest problem set 1, problem set 2, this is the first exam you have to complete. Let's suppose Ed earned $25 interest on $200 invested for 6 months. What simple interest rate did Ed earn? Well, the fact that we see the word what and rate, okay, that's a key that we're going to use this formula. So step 1, state the formula. Step 2, identify the variables. I'm going to do it on the same line here just because I'm pressed for space with my small whiteboard. What's the interest? The interest is $25. Okay, what's the principal? $200 invested. And what's T? T is given in months, but it has to be in years. So we're going to convert that to 6 over 12. Now you can convert that to an exact decimal here if you wish. That's perfectly fine. Now we substitute R equals I, 25, over the principal, 200 times 6 over 12. Now there's a couple of ways we can go here. You can figure out the denominator and then divide. You can do it as a two-step process. We have 200 times 6 divided by 12. I can do this in my head, so in case you're wondering, but I'm just following what you should do. That ends up being 100, so you can simplify that to 25 over 100, and then you can do that division. 25 divided by 100 is 0.25. R comes out of this as a decimal, but quite often we want it as a percent. So we'll move the decimal over 2 places, and the answer is 25%. Ed earned a pretty good rate of interest on his investment for 6 months. And here's the second problem. Oh, by the way, if you want to do this all in one fell swoop on a calculator, you'd have to do 25 divided by, you'd have to group the denominator together with parentheses. 200 times 6 divided by 12 equals. Or if you have an online calculator like Desmos, as soon as you push this division, what it does, a fraction template comes up. So it's a little easier. You won't need the parentheses if you use something like Desmos. Just follow the clues online. Now here's an interesting question. Mel, the Mega Million winner, deposited $50 million into an account earning 5% interest. It could be like a corporate bond account, for instance. You won't find that at a bank, but you probably can find a way to earn that interest if you have that much money. How long will it take Mel to earn $10,000? This way, Mel can siphon this $10,000 off of his investment every so often and use it for mad money or whatever. So now, how long is time? So obviously, when you see how long, we're looking for the time, so it's going to be the T equals formula. State the formula. T equals I over PR. Identify the variables. I equals, as long as your work is organized, I mean, if you do this on one line in a piece of paper, that's okay, as long as it's separate steps, that's up to you. If you want to put it in a more compressed format, as long as you have the formula defining the variables, etc. The interest is $10,000. And we need to define the principal. That's 50 million. And R is, oh, I made a mistake there. Sorry about that. R is 0.05. Now we substitute T equals I, which is 10,000 divided by 50 million. And that's times a rate, which is 0.05. Now again, you can top divided by the bottom. Calculator is much like this. Desmos actually makes this really easy. But if you want to break this down, you can do the denominator operation, and it gives you 10,000 divided by, and do 50,000 times 0.05, and it gives you 2,500,000. So we have 10,000 over 2.5 million. Now that's easy peasy. You can simplify this further. You can actually cancel out 4 zeros on the top, cancel out 4 zeros on the bottom if you wish. And that would give you 1 over 250. So when you have really large numbers, that simplifies it and cuts down on the chance for error. Now, if you divide 1 by 250, that's pretty easy on a calculator. It works out to be 0.04. And keep in mind, this comes out of the formula in years. Okay, what does 0.04 mean? That's 0.04 years. It's hard for somebody to wrap their mind around what that actually means. So what we're going to do is multiply by 365. And you can do that on a calculator. It works out to be 1.46 days. So about 1.5 days. So like, Monday morning we could go, and then Tuesday evening, and then Thursday morning, et cetera, about 1.5 days. Now, if we want our answer in hours, what we can do is we can do times 24. If this were a tiny fraction, if this were like, 0.2 days, well, we may want to convert it to hours. So we simply multiply by 24, 1.46 times 24 equals, and I get 35.04. So we'll call that 35 hours, okay? There are 24 hours in a day. That's 11 additional hours. The 0.46 is actually 11 hours. If you do 0.46 times 24, it should give you about 11 hours. So that's pretty much all there is to this section. And we'll be back. We'll have 2 more sections on simple interest for problem set 2. So I hope you enjoyed this. That's all for this video.